right, now we are going to talk about the orthographic development and the derivational relation stage. So, spelling mistakes in this stage, if you look just quickly, they tend to look as if the student is still in the syllables and affixes stage. But when we really dig deeper and inspect the mistakes that they're happening, we're noticing that students are incorrectly spelling in the syllable juncture. So, the syllable juncture is when two syllables join together. So they get confused on this because the vowels are usually in an unaccented or unstressed syllable in the word. And this also trips them up because the words are multisyllabic or, they have three or more syllables. So, for example, if we look on the chart on the slide, and if we look at the early derivational stage and we notice the mistakes that they're happening, we see the word confident. So we all know that confident is three syllables, and the student is spelling it with an A instead of a D. So the mistake that's happening is in between the f and the dent in that word, which are both unaccented or unstressed syllables in that word. And so they tend to get caught up and mess up on that word. All right, so we're also noticing that when students are spelling in this stage, that the mistakes that they're happening but they fall into three main categories. So the first category is the multisyllabic words that have unaccented syllables and the vowel changes to the schwa sound. So I just went over the words having the unaccented. We had confident. But if we look at the word opposition, we have that sh sound, right? So students tend to get confused about which spelling of sh should I use for this word. So that's a really big one that students tend to make. That's kind of like the first one. So the second category that students are messing up on is when suffixes. So several suffixes have different spellings despite making the same sound. So for example, opposition, we have that Tion. We have tension, which is Sion, and we also have dietitian, which is the Cian sound. So we have three different suffixes that all sound the same, but they are clearly spelled differently. So in this stage is when it's really important that students are studying the Greek and Latin and understanding what each of those suffixes mean, because if they study that, they know hey, that CIAN suffix mean it's really pertaining to a job or an occupation. So if I say, hey, Billy spelled dietitian, when you have that background knowledge, you know that, hey, it's not going to trip me up because it's an occupation or it's a job. So it's clearly going to be spelled with the CIAN. Or if we have the SION suffix, we know that means the state of being. So, right? So tension is the state of being tense. So I know that when I'm asking you to spell that word, I know to use that suffix because I have that background knowledge. So that's really important in the stage that they are studying the Greek and Latin base suffixes and understanding. So they're not making those mistakes again. So the third category that students are messing up on is when the absorbed or assimilated prefix. So this one's really tricky. So the absorbed or assimilated prefix is when the change of spelling depending on the paired word, root, or base word. So for example, we have the prefix ad, so ad, which means to or toward, right? But if the root or base word starts with the following letters, then you're going to have to drop the D. So if it starts with a C or an F, a G, an N, a P, a R, an S, or T, the D is dropped and becomes that letter. So for example, we have the word accept. So the D is dropped on that, and then you have to double up the consonant. So you have ACCEPT. Or we also have announce. We're dropping that D and putting double consonant. Aggression, dropping that AD. So that one's really tricky for students. So those are the three different categories that students are messing up on in the derivational stage. in their orthographic development.